Welcome to Virtual Networkers, everyone. I hope everybody's here to celebrate the last Friday of April. Where'd this month go? I don't know. So let's go ahead and get started. First with a reminder, if you haven't done so already, please put your first, last name, and email address in the chat box. That's how we take attendance here in Virtual Networkers. And when this meeting is over, I will email you a copy of the transcript. It will be a PDF as well as a link to the recording. And I have pressed record, so now I know for sure it's actually going to go. So we're going to go ahead and get started with 30-second introductions. Please keep it to 30 seconds so that we have plenty of time for our speaker today, who's going to share lovely copyright information. So let me just give a second here for the folks to come in, and then we will get started. Darlene, I will have you start us off, and then I will go next. So Darlene, go ahead.
Good morning, Darlene Elkins, artistic photographer from Tampa, Florida. Did you know we need art in times of crisis or stress? Art allows us to examine what it means to be human. Because we are visually expressive beings, art reconnects us with our inner home, our hearts, our souls. Imagine at the end of a challenging day, meditating with a photograph that does that for you. It would do my heart good to think one of my photographs might do that for you. Photographsforthesoul.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Darlene. I'll go next, and then I'll have Susan go. I'm Jill Celeste. I'm the founder of Virtual Networkers as well as Celestial University. In Virtual Networkers, we gather wonderful female entrepreneurs so that they can network and get to know each other, build friendships, build relationships, and yes, even refer business to each other. If you're interested to learn more about Virtual Networkers, the web address is virtualnetworkers.biz, and we're welcoming our guests today. Thank you for being here. So we'll go now to Susan, then Debbie.
Hi, thanks. This is my first time here. I'm Susan of Susan Majetti Consulting and Coaching. I specialize in leadership development and coaching, as well as employee development and engagement. And I'm happy to be here. I'm a friend of Sherry, so I'm super excited to hear her today. Thank you.
Awesome. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. We'll go to Debbie and Sherry.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Deborah Keevan of Highlander Press, and I help guide entrepreneurial women with big hearts and big missions to go from I have an idea to I have a published book and beyond. So we actually here at Highlander Press, we grow authors.
That's right. Sherry, then Marilyn.
Okay, in the interest of making legal not be quite so intimidating, I'm trying something a little new today. And of course the sound's not on. Okay, here we go. Sherry Andrews is my name. Legal protection is my game. You've got questions, don't be a stranger. I'll keep your business out of danger. If this rep ain't enough of a hook, check this out, I wrote a book. Clients will tell you that I'm the bomb. Find me at sherryandrews.com. Yo.
I have never seen a wrapped elevator speech that wins the award. We are very humbled by you today. Thank you, Sherry. Marilyn, I'm sorry that you have to follow that truly. We'll have Marilyn, then Kelly go.
Sherry, shame on you. It's okay. I believe in what I do. I've gotten over a lot of my limiting beliefs. Hi, my name is Marilyn Kopez. I am a board-certified hypnotist and energy psychology coach. I help people deal with issues that plague them, whether it's health-related or in your mind. Marilyn Kopez at Essential Health Hypnosis.
Thank you, Marilyn. So good to see you today. For those of you coming in, please remember to go to the chat box, first, last name, email address, and we'll have Kelly go, then Hannah.
Good morning. I'm Kelly Lubman. I'm a certified health coach who uses functional medicine principles to puzzle piece what's going on in your body and figure out the full picture. I use symptoms I see symptoms not as frustrating aspects of life, but as messages that are a valuable gift from your body to help you know something's not working right. You need to put some focus on this and get it working better. My focus is to help you overcome the pain and the frustration and find delight in the way you feel in your body. I'm Kelly with Pursue Wellness for You, Wellness for Life, because health is wealth.
Okay. Hannah, then Suzanne Moore.
Good morning, everyone. I am Hanne Brøter, graphic designer, visual branding expert, and a teacher of graphic design. I live in Norway and work globally, and you can find me at the Brøter School of Design or yourbrandvision.com. And if you want your business to look good, we should talk.
Agreed. Thanks, Hannah. Suzanne, then Laura Clark.
Do you ever feel like instead of focusing on the things that are going to move your business forward, you're playing a game of whack-a-mole with your to-do list? I'm Suzanne Moore, and I help independent entrepreneurial women figure out what the 2 to 3 things are that are really going to move their business forward in a way that will bring revenues in most quickly. You can find me at SuzanneTMoore.com.
Oh, Suzanne, good to see you. Laura, then Connie Joe.
Yes, good morning, everyone. And as many of us are so familiar with these 3 top list of challenges as entrepreneurs, and it's usually time management, delegating those tasks, and outsourcing trustworthy help. I help support entrepreneurs with handling your day-to-day management of projects, operations, and team members. And together with my team, we transform workdays by reducing your workloads and maximize productivity while we bring key systems to daily business activities. I'm Laura Clark, founder of Chief Executive Management, located in Monroe, New York, virtually supporting your office while you do business.
Good to see you, Laura. Thank you for being here. Connie Joe, then Jennifer.
I know that letting someone see the money part of your business is like letting someone see you in your underwear. It can be scary, uncomfortable, and you think maybe it's best if that's all just left in the dark. I'm Connie Jo Miller of Enigma Bookkeeping Solutions in Atlanta, Georgia. In the words of one of my awesome clients, I feel a great sense of relief knowing my books are being tracked and watched over by Connie Jo. I have more clarity on what is going on in my business, but the best part is I feel completely comfortable with revealing my personal issues about my finances and money. Schedule a free consult with me today. My link is in the chat box.
Thank you, Connie Joe. Jennifer, then Stacy.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I am Jennifer Ressman, your business content specialist. I'm here to help you build your business content online. I'm with Voyu Business Writing here in lovely Central Florida. Making content is a big undertaking that many just can't keep up with consistently with their business. So it's all about creating content for you. You can find me on LinkedIn and Voyu. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Stacy, then Judy.
Good morning, everyone. Most of us here are working. Feedback are working because we have to, and we may love what we do, but we also have to make money. I help people who maybe aren't loving what they're doing or who just want to have more ease and grow what they're doing. I help them do that by providing them with inspiration and clarity so that they can find their way in their job or business. I'm a career and business coach, and you can find me at stacy@custombuiltlife.com.
Thanks, Stacy. Judy, then Kate.
Hi, I'm Judy Kane, and my business is Aligned Consciousness. I help people rewrite subconscious, self-limiting beliefs. People come to me for 3 main reasons. They either come because they've got these emotions that come up whenever they think about certain things, or because they've got conscious goals that they aren't hitting, or because they've got physical symptoms of stress, which is caused by beliefs. Judy Kane, Aligned Consciousness.
Thank you, Judy. Kate, then Rachel.
Hello, I'm Kate Barnes, Clarity Coach for creative solopreneurs. I use my 16 years as a professional organizer and coach, my training as an energy practitioner and in human design to help you find the natural rhythm and to dump those BS rules that you may still be following that are keeping you limited. So who do you know who wants to break free from the chaos, uncover a system that works for them long-term so that their soul can shine? Kate Barnes at katebarnes.com.
Kate, that is the best elevator speech I've ever heard you give. Congratulations. I hope you have that one written down because that was good. Woo!
I do.
Awesome. Rachel,
you.
then Gabriella.
Hi ladies, I'm Rachel and I'm a website designer, and I have the unique ability to transform my clients' personality into a .com. I love working with spiritual entrepreneurs who are divinely contracted to change the world. So if you know anyone who fits that bill, I'd love to be connected. Thank you.
Thanks, Rach. Gabriella, and then Dr. Laura Dowling.
Hello, ladies. Good afternoon from the UK. I'm Gabriella Boccanete and a holistic health coach. I work with mostly women who have fatigue conditions, and I take them with the help of my gong and sound therapy and yoga therapy and other wonderful skills that I've acquired in my long professional life. I take them from overwhelm to serenity and from fatigue to gentle resilience and embodied joy. So GabriellaBoccanete.com.
Thank you, Gabriella. We're glad you're here today. Dr. Laura, then Suzanne Bellavista.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Laura Dowling. As Chief Perspective Changer, Principal Connector, Complex Information Navigator, Learning Nerd, and Mindfulness Guru, I build moral and ethical bachelor's, master's, and doctors. I use the power of neuroscience to enable personal, professional, and academic success. Glad to be here.
We're glad you're here too. Thank you for joining us today. Suzanne, then Diane.
Good morning, everyone. Suzanne Bellavista here from Western Massachusetts. Have you ever been at a crossroads in your life where you wondered what to do next? Have you wished that life came with a set of operating instructions or a roadmap? It does. Your astrological chart as well as your inner voice of wisdom. I work with passionate and perfectionistic women to help them slow down, reconnect to their inner voice of wisdom, as well as the divine wisdom of the natural world around them. The result is, together, we go on a treasure hunt to figure out their vision and a plan to launch that joyful next chapter. You can find me on the internet, on the web at soulfullivingproject.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Suzanne. And finally, Diane.
Hi, I'm new and I'm having some internet difficulty, so I'm not using video this morning. Have you ever made a bad decision? I know I certainly have. And in my life, I have observed and studied decision making and found that often in corporations, there's a disconnect between the people who make decisions and the information that supports them. So I help bring those together. I do that at Aluminum Coaching and Consulting. Everything we do is bespoke, meaning it is exactly tailored to my client's needs and budget. Thanks.
Awesome, Diane. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for joining us today. Before we get into the speaker, if you haven't done so already, please put your first, last name, email address, especially for our guests. I will get a copy of the transcript from the chat box to you, as well as a link to the recording after the meeting is over. And now let's switch gears and do our speakers. So Jennifer, are you ready to introduce?
All ready.
All right. Well, Jennifer, introduce us, and then Sherry, if you could take us to about 8:40 a.m., and then we'll open it up for questions.
Sherry Andrews is our favorite small business attorney in Pennsylvania. Using flat rate and subscription pricing models that take the fear out of legal fees, she partners with female-owned and operated small business and soulpreneurs so they can move forward with confidence, knowing their business is legally protected and positioned for success. She received her her BA, magna cum laude from Mount Holyoke College, and her JD from Temple University School of Law. She has over 30 years of experience in both law firm and corporate settings and earned the prestigious in-house counsel certification from the Association of Corporate Counsel. Her practice includes business business formation, contracts, policies, copyrights, and trademarks, and other business needs. And if you haven't gotten a coffee chat with her, you should, because she's got a lot of great information to share with you. And I think you're going to talk about copyright today, right? Very excited. Thank you. Sherry, take it away.
Okay. I just need a half a second here to share my screen.
It's always that awkward moment of, I gotta share my screen. You're good. We see it.
Okay. I'm sorry. This always happens to me. I always need to start over. I don't know why. All right, I give up. Wait a minute.
Sherry, you should rap for us while you do your screen share.
Yeah, my problem is that the screen sharing thing is blocking me from getting to where you do the show, you know, the slideshow
All right,
thing.
go back. Open
All right.
it up. Sorry, I'll speak clearly.
Hang on. Okay. My apologies, but
Don't apologize. Don't apologize. I'm not doing anything wrong. There you go.
okay. Now we are now we are in business. I just move a couple things around on the screen here. Okay. Ready, set, go. So today we're talking copyright basics for small business. Good morning and welcome to the Virtual Networkers School of Law. I am Professor Sherry Andrews, and again, this is Copyright Basics for Small Business. So if you happen to be in the wrong class, now's your chance to sneak out the back. If you don't want to sneak out the back, you want to hang out with me for a minute, here we go. Before we jump in, disclaimer, this always comes in, I hate this. Okay, the presentation is for informational purposes only. Nothing constitutes legal advice that I say today. There's no attorney-client relationship created by your attendance. And if you have questions, please consult your attorney. So to start off with, I want to get one thing straight. Copyright, in the way we're discussing it today, is the legal right to make, distribute, perform, display, and adapt copies of an original work. That's to be distinguished and not to be confused with copyright with a W, which is the act of writing copy for articles, blogs, language for marketing materials, somebody's book, whatever. They're two very different things, and we're talking about the one that involves legal rights. Okay, so what is copyright? Copyright is a bundle of intellectual property rights. It protects original works of authorship that are fixed in a tangible medium. It applies only to creative expression, and it arises automatically upon creation. Now, we're going to take each of these and unpack them so that you understand what they mean and what copyright is and what it doesn't cover. So the first thing is the bundle of rights. As a copyright holder, you get a bundle of very specific exclusive rights regarding what you can and can't do with your work. The first of these is the right of reproduction, and it is the most important right a copyright owner gets. It literally means the right to make copies of your work. The second right is adaptation. Adaptation, also known as derivative works, is the right to use your work to create something else. For example, when a novel is adapted into a movie or a book is translated into another language. The right of public distribution is the right to sell or transfer ownership of your work to the public. So if you write a book and you're selling it on Amazon, that's public distribution. If you've written a course and you're selling it through your website, that's public distribution. Next one is public display. And public display typically refers to things like showing a painting or a sculpture in a gallery. It could also mean having a stack of books you've written in a bookstore. But it's basically a visual display. Public performance is typically what we think of in terms of a play on Broadway or a show in a movie theater. It could also mean like a public reading of a book you've written, or when you go on and do a Facebook Live or a podcast. That's another form. Well, actually, podcast is in this last one. Digital and audio transmission covers radio, television, and podcasting. So here's a good question for you. Can a monkey own the copyright in his own selfie? To answer this, we have to determine what the copyright law means by an original work of authorship. So original does not mean novel or new. That's a patent law requirement. Original also does not mean distinctive, because that's a trademark law requirement. Original simply means that the work has to originate with the author as an independent creation and not as a copy of something that was already existing. The work also has to embody a modicum or spark of creativity. Now, the spark of creativity is a very, very low threshold, but it simply means that the labor involved in creating the work isn't enough to confer copyright protection. Authorship requires that the creative expression has to be causally connected to a human agent. And this was the subject of a rather famous lawsuit recently between PETA, the animal rights activist group, and British nature photographer David Slater. Now, Slater claimed that the copyright ownership of the photos taken on his camera that were snapped by a macaque were actually his. That's the famous monkey selfie that's shown in the slide. Now, Mr. Slater had actually done all of the work of setting up the camera, figuring out angles and lighting, and it was only after all that was done that the monkeys were able to go up and snap the shutter button. PETA, on the other hand, claimed that the monkeys should own the copyright. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals held that the Copyright Act does not permit non-humans to file lawsuits for infringement. And indeed, the Copyright Office manual actually states that the term authorship implies that a work must owe its origin to a human. So materials produced solely by nature, plants, or animals are not copyrightable. And, so sorry to the macaque, but he can't own the copyright in his selfie. So we know now what original work of authorship means. What does it mean to be fixed in a tangible medium? This means that you've taken the thoughts and ideas out of your head and you have recorded them in some manner. Now, some examples of this: a photographic image exists on the drive of your camera or cell phone. When you're doing a painting, you're creating that on a canvas. Your blog post exists as a file on your website. And if you write a book, that exists as written words on paper or a file in a word processing program on your computer. All of these qualify as being fixed in a tangible medium. So, original work of authorship, fixed in a tangible medium. Copyright only protects creative expression, and that is the sole domain of copyright law. Copyright specifically does not protect ideas. So if you have an idea in your head, there's no copyright protection for that. If you share that idea with someone in the course of a conversation, there's also no copyright protection for that unless you happen to have recorded it, because in order for copyright protection to exist, that idea has to be fixed in a tangible medium. A copyright also does not protect facts or data. So, for example, if you were to write a blog post and you're comparing 3 different email marketing platforms, the underlying facts about that, from the names of the platforms, the features available, the cost of the service, none of that is going to be protected by copyright. And anybody could visit your website, read your blog, pull that information out of that there and use that for their own purposes. What is protected is your creative expression. The words you use to describe, for example, your experience with the platform, how it operates, and the way you arrange the pros and cons of each platform in your post. That is what is covered by copyright law. And finally, what does it mean to say copyright arises automatically? And this is one that a lot of people aren't aware of. And so I'm glad you're all here to hear this. It simply means that if the work you have created is eligible for copyright protection, that protection arises as soon as you create the work. Unlike patent and trademark, you're not required to register with the government in order for those intellectual property rights to be available to you. Now, we'll get to why you want to register your copyright in a little bit, but basically, you don't have to register anything. That copyright is yours the minute you create your work. So, what can be copyrighted? Now, as we just discussed, copyright applies only to creative expression, but creative expression includes a lot of different categories. It's literary works, which we've been mostly discussing, which is books, blog posts, poems, computer code. Artistic works include paintings, drawings, sculptures. Dramatic works, plays, movies, animation, audio, visual, dance choreography, and finally, music works, and that covers the lyrics, the songs themselves, and the composition. So, it's an entire bundle that's covered by music. Specifically, what's not covered by copyright, again, ideas, facts, and data, no copyright protection. Interesting one to me, book titles and song titles. They do not get copyright protection because they're considered too short. And I know, I don't know about the rest of you, but for me, a book title, a song title, sometimes that's the most important part of the whole thing if you're going to catch attention, and it can be very creative. So I'm sorry, but not covered. And then finally, inventions, that's patent law, slogans, brands, and company names, that's trademark law. So once you have copyrighted material, how do you protect your copyright? How do you even know that someone is infringing your copyright? So here's my quick list of things you can do to protect your copyrighted material. First, use a copyrighted notice. Now, this is not required at all. You do not have to put a copyright notice on anything in order for your copyright to be valid. But again, I'm going to strongly recommend that you use the copyright notice on everything that you create, because the minute you put that out there, people tend to think it's fair game, especially if it's on the internet. And your copyright notice is there to tell them that your stuff is not fair game. Next, set up Google Alerts. Now, this is only for text-based material, but you can create an alert for a catchy title of your program, a block of text from your blog post, and once you create that Google alert, Google will let you know if that shows up somewhere else. Watermark your images and PDFs. Now, the only thing this does is make it harder for somebody to use, but hey, it's a quick and easy step, and if it helps, why not? Use a monitoring service. This is something that most people are not aware of, but there are companies like copyrighted.com and DMCA.com that for about $120, they will crawl the internet looking for your content and let you know if it shows up somewhere else. And finally, proactively file to register your copyright. Now, this applies to your courses, your blog material, if you're writing a book, your book. And while the registration for a book is filed individually, so one book at a time, for information that's on your website or blog post, you can actually file copyright registrations for those as a group for a single filing fee. Now, what happens if you find out that your information is being used in places that you did not authorize it? You have several options of what you can do. The first, and it's not on the list, is do nothing. So if your material is old, it's something that you're no longer using, and it shows up somewhere, you may decide that it's just not worth the effort to pursue fighting it. The next one is a DMCA Take Down Notice. Now, DMCA is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And under DMCA, any site that allows user-generated content, so Facebook is a prime example, but there are tons and tons of sites that allow user-generated content. If your material, whether it's images, whether it's text, whatever, shows up on another website, under DMCA, you can send them a notice letting them know that your material is being infringed and ask them to remove the material from their website. Now, under the DMCA, you can't claim any kind of damages, but you can at least get the stuff taken off the infringing site. The next one is a cease and desist letter. What a cease and desist letter basically is a letter asking the infringing party to stop their infringing behavior. You can also ask for damages in your cease and desist letter. I'm going to tell you from my experience as an attorney, you're lucky if the cease and desist letter gets them to just stop. Don't expect them to voluntarily send you a check, but it's worth a try. And if none of those options get you the results you want, litigation is the final step. Now, the downside to litigation is you have to have registered your copyright before you can file a lawsuit in federal court. And the registration process currently is taking about 10 months. So while you're waiting on your registration, your infringer is continuing to use your stuff. So why register your copyright? There's a lot of good reasons. The first we just discussed, it's required for litigation. In March of 2019, the Supreme Court held that you have to have a valid registration in order to pursue litigation in federal court. The second one is statutory damages. Now, I want to explain that normally as a copyright holder, you have the burden of proof to show your actual losses when somebody infringes your copyright. So whether you've lost licensing fees, royalty income, whatever, you have the burden of proof of showing that in court to determine the amount of damages. But if you have proactively registered your copyright, and it's the earlier of 90 days after the first publication or before infringement begins, and because of those dates, we usually just say by 90 days from the date that you first published, then you can claim statutory damages. And statutory damages, it's an amount defined by the court. It can range from $750 to $30,000 per work and can be increased up to $150,000 if you can show that the infringement was intentional. Now, to me, that alone is a solid reason for proactively registering your copyright if you actually intend to enforce it. The next reason is attorney's fees. And that follows the exact same rules as statutory damages. If you have proactively filed your copyright registration, you can claim attorney's fees. If you haven't, you can't. And the last one I want to talk about, if you actually register your copyright, it's a really exciting day when the envelope finally arrives from the US Copyright Office and you get that little certificate of registration and it says, yo, I've registered my copyright. It's one more piece of cachet for your social media. When I get my certificate of registration, you can guarantee it's going to be all over Facebook and LinkedIn. Now, filing fees run from $45 to $500, depending on the type of copyright registration you are filing. The one that I want to bring to your attention, you can register a batch of blog posts, a 90-day group of blog posts or web content for a single $65 filing fee. So if you just set up quarterly filings for your blog post, you can keep that going, and it's $65 a quarter to register. So this information and much more is covered in my book, Smooth Sailing, A Practical Guide to Protecting Your Business, which you can find at smoothsailingbook.com. And I purposely kept this short to leave lots of time for Q&A. So I hope you don't mind that I blew through all of that, but I know there's going to be questions, and I wanted to make sure people were going to have a chance to ask them.
Thank you, Sherry. So much great information. Who's got questions for Sherry? We got Dr. Laura, then Stacy.
So Sherry, if you're saying that the copywriting process takes 10 months, wow. If I'm writing a book and it's going to hit the market in fall, does that mean I copyright today?
No, that means the day that your book goes live in the market, we file your copyright registration. That's the way to do it. You have to file within 90 days of publication, so up to 90 days after the date of publication.
And I'd still be protected, even though it takes them 10 months to give me the actual
Yes,
stamp.
because the registration is actually going to go back to the date of filing. That's a very good question. Yeah.
So file on date of mass distribution.
Yep.
Thank you.
Awesome question. Go ahead, Stacy.
Okay, I had a question about statutory damages. What if you have let's say you have a piece of artwork and you share it, well, that would be under the other thing. Anyway, let's say someone's using your artwork, but you just created it. You didn't plan to sell it or license it, but it's just your baby, but someone else is using it. So like if you can't demonstrate loss of income, is that the only way that you can get them to kind of stop using it? Like, I'm not trying to collect loss of income, I just don't want you to have it, kind of thing is what I'm asking about.
So statutory damages is the easy way to get around that. But if you hadn't proactively filed because you really were just, thinking this was something you did for yourself and somehow it got out in the world, you could still bring in experts to testify what the value would have been had you been trying to sell it. And one of the measures of damages is the loss in value. So you can say, if I had sold this on the open market, it would have been worth that. And now that you have published it all over the place or, sold it, you've diminished my value by that much.
So even if the intention was never to sell it, you can still claim loss of value. Okay, cool. I don't have that situation. I was just curious.
Good question, though.
Yeah, Rach, go ahead.
How does copyright registration work when you do changes, particularly for like digital content? If you're registering, oh, everyone moved. If you're registering your blog post or whatever, your batch basically, and then you make changes or updates to your website, does that then carry over, or it only affects what you submitted at that time?
Okay, so let's just say, and this is a very good question, Rachel, and it's nuanced. So let's say that you've got a bunch of blog posts on your website and you file a batch copyright for them for a 90-day period. The next 90 days, when you go to file, you're filing for the most recent 90 days. So, you're filing quarter by quarter. If you then at some point go in and change one of those blog posts, what is going to be copyrighted is your original version. But then when you do your next 90-day, you can include that change to whatever post that was. And the same for your website as a whole, the content on your website, you're filing a rolling 90 days. So if you're filing every quarter to keep it up, whatever you've done in the last 90 days gets included.
Awesome.
All right, we'll go Connie Jo, then Suzanne.
I have two questions. So how do you file a copyright registration? Do you go online and do it, or do you need to go through an attorney?
Good question, Connie Jo. I like this question. You can go to the U.S. Copyright Office and find the correct form for what you are trying to copyright and fill it out and pay the fee. And if you happen to fill the form out right, good for you. But I'm going to strongly advise everyone to use an attorney because those forms are confusing. And what you think it means isn't necessarily what it means. If you want to spend several hours reading all the help documents that go with it to make sure that you're filling it out correctly, then by all means, go ahead. But one of the fun things about copyright law is it's based on federal law. And so I am not restricted, and no other attorney is restricted to their state license for helping people with copyright.
Great question. Love that. All right, we'll go to
Kind
Suzanne
of like
B.
doing your taxes, Sherry. Like, get an expert, right?
Exactly.
I had one other thing.
Yeah,
So can you send I would think if I got a cease and desist letter and it was from an attorney, it'd have more clout than if it just came from whoever. Is that something you can help us with if we come up against that?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter state.
It's copyright law, and so I'm going to hang my hat on its federal legislation. So,
all right, good questions. All right, we're going to go Suzanne B, then Marilyn.
Sherry, thank you so much for that presentation. That was really awesome. And it felt, you packed so much in there. It didn't feel like you stopped early. So I do a lot of blog writing and I've never thought of copywriting it. What is the value of copywriting your blog as you've seen working with people or just as you've thought that through?
so the biggest value again goes back to if you are going to enforce your copyrights, then when you get to a point of having to file litigation, you're able to claim statutory damages and attorney's fees. And so if you think you're spending $65 a quarter plus whatever you're paying an attorney to handle those copyright registrations, if you spend even $1,000 in a year copywriting all your material, and the first time somebody snags your stuff, you're able to get up to $30,000 in damages. That's money well spent. It does require that you're going to be willing to enforce your copyright. And if you're not going to be willing to enforce it, then registering it doesn't make any sense.
And then just a quick follow-up. So what you said, you can file for 90. If I wanted to go right now and file for my blog, which let's just say I've been writing it for a year, I can only file for 90 days chunks at a time?
Right. You would have to do, if you were trying to catch up for an entire year, you would have to do 4 filings.
Okay, thank you.
That's great questions. We'll go to Marilyn and then Margaret, and then we'll have to go to announcements after that. Go ahead, Marilyn.
Hey, thank you, Sherry. What a great job. Thank you so much. So I've got like a 2-part question. Number one, the information you were giving us, is that US based or is this like international? If somebody in Poland, were to take some of my information, or I don't know if other countries have a copyright law, if I were to accidentally borrow, something, normally I give citations, to everything, but I'm just trying to understand internationally.
Yeah, excellent question. My advice and my information is specific to US copyright law. Now, you can enforce your US copyright against somebody in Poland, but I wouldn't even want to opine in this setting how that works. I know you can do it, but I don't know Polish law either. Every country pretty much does have some sort of copyright laws, but they vary.
Okay, and then the second part was, are federal government publications copyrighted? Do you know?
Good question. I have no idea. I can check into that and get back to you because I don't know.
Thank you.
All right, Margaret.
Good morning, Sherry. That was awesome. Thank you so much. I'm glad I got here right at least at the beginning. My question is relative to blog writing and any other writing. What about our newsletters that may be not the same as our blogs?
I'm going to guess that because your newsletters, and this is just me shooting from the hip here. Because your newsletters are going to a defined audience, it's not published quite the same as being up on the website. So there's going to be some nuances in the way copyright would play into that. That is still copyrightable material because you still wrote it and it's creative expression. Which level of copyright it would go under, I would have to check.
Yeah. So if I'm publishing my newsletter on whatever frequency, I can still put the copyright and the symbol.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Which
you
I
can
have
put that copyright on everything.
I've been doing that for years. I was just verifying that that was a good thing to do because sometimes the newsletter is totally different than what I might write on a blog. So thank you.
Great questions. Gosh, there's so much wonderful information. Sherry, thank you so much. If you need Sherry's help or have more questions, I'm sure she'll be delighted to do a coffee chat with you and where you can buy her book. Sherry, share that book one more time for us. It's right behind you. And tell us when it's available. And Debbie, of course, has a copy.
Smooth Sailing, A Practical Guide to Legally Protecting Your Business. And it launches May 18th on Amazon.com. And thereafter, everywhere you can buy books.
Yes, buy it. Go ahead and pre-order it today. Congratulations, Sherry, on your book. Okay, we're going to move to announcements. So let me explain how we do this. If you are a member of Virtual Networkers, whether in this chapter or another chapter, you'll be able to do a verbal announcement, but we have to make a choice. You can either announce something you need a referral for or something you're promoting, or a shout out, because we have a lot of people. We got to squeeze everything in and be very succinct. If you are a guest, please post your announcements in the chat box. Remember, that gets emailed out. You're welcome to drop links in there as well. So for announcements, I'll go first and then I'll have Darlene go. I just want to give a shout out to our members who aren't able to be here today. Laura Templeton, Mary Beth, Susan Shelton, happy 30th wedding anniversary to Susan Shelton, Susan Driscoll, Robin, and Ann. And then just on the Social University front, today's the last day to enroll in the Mind Soul track, which is my coaching program through Social University. You can check it out at cuenroll.com. I'll put that link in the chat box here in just a second. So I'll have Darlene go and then Debbie.
Good morning. A reminder that on my webpage at photographsforthesoul.com, I also sell blank greeting cards. It is an original print. They're all original and they're signed. And it's a great gift item that someone can either frame or just hold as a sweet memory. You're welcome to take a look. Thank you.
Thanks, Darlene. Debbie, then Sherry.
Sherry, that was awesome. I just want to give a plug for Sherry because in Highlander Press cohort model where we publish your books, Sherry's one of the guest instructors and she teaches all of the authors all about copyright and how they can protect their copyright. So it's really part of the whole program that we use. So if you're interested or know someone who wants to publish a book, have them reach out to me. I'll put my link in the chat box.
Awesome. Thanks, Debbie. Sherry, then Marilyn.
So I just want to do a quick shout out to Susan Majetti, Laura Dowling, and Diane Eisler for stopping in today and checking this out and supporting me. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Sherry, for inviting them, ladies. We're so glad that you joined us today. Marilyn, then Kelly.
So Sherry, as I said before, excellent. I have one announcement. I don't know if you can see, but I have been accepted into the International Medical and Dental Hypnotherapy Association. It's really cool. So if you know anybody who has medical or dental fears, phobias, issues, send them my way. Thanks.
Congratulations, Marilyn. That's awesome. Kelly, then Hannah.
Sherry, thank you so much. You laid it out so clearly, you explained it, and you kind of helped us see some of the thought process as we asked questions and you said, that's nuanced, that's clear, that's really valuable. But I certainly know that I'm coming to you when I have questions further. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kelly. Hannah, then Laura Clark.
Thank you, Sherry. That was amazing. And I will certainly be asking for a coffee date because I have thousands of questions that I cannot fit in here. And I need to find out how this works in Europe.
Awesome. Thanks, Hannah. Laura, then Connie Jo.
Yes, myself as well, Sherry. I will definitely have to get a coffee date with you because a lot of questions were answered with everyone else's questions, but I have some myself. So great presentation. Thank you for your time. And no announcements for myself. Enjoy your weekend, everyone.
Thanks, Laura. Connie Jo, then Jennifer.
I'm the president of the Monday chapter of Virtual Networkers, and everyone here is invited to visit the Monday chapter, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Next Monday, our speaker is Marcia Sheehan, and her presentation is called Prioritizing You First.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see you all stop by.
Thanks, Connie Jo. Jennifer, then Stacy.
That was a great talk, Sherry. I worked for a long time as a photographer and an artist, and we did a lot of asking and having people sign paperwork so we could use their information or use their picture or take pictures of even your house so we could use it for things. And people are usually very generous. So a lot of times if people just ask, can I use your stuff and show you off instead of just stealing it, can be and it's a much nicer relationship, right? So thanks for talking about all those good things. And I don't really have an announcement, but I do love your referrals. And if you want to do some endorsing on LinkedIn, we should connect over there. And when you're ready to have somebody help you with your content creation and make your life easier, give me a call, email me, Facebook me, LinkedIn message me. You know where to reach me. Have a great weekend. Thanks.
Thanks, Jennifer. Stacy, then Kate.
Great presentation, Sherry. You took something that is normally kind of dense and hard to get your mind around and made it really easy. So thank you for that. And I don't really have an announcement this week, but I'll just drop my coffee chat link in the chat. I think that's right. I said that right.
Got it right.
So if anyone wants to connect, I'm always open for having one-on-ones. Thanks.
Thanks, Stacy. Kate, then Rach.
Okay, so I am running the Get Kick-Ass Testimonials with Ease in May and also in June. This is a 4-week live course that 2 participants in this last section, they've been in business for more than 10 years, and they were like, I can't believe what I learned here about marketing overall, just from the idea of getting testimonials. So if you know anyone who's interested, even if they've been in business for a while, let them know. I've dropped the link in the chat, and registration for May ends on May 4th. So hope to see you or friends there. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. Rachel, then Suzanne B.
For me, coming up on Tuesday, May the 4th be with you. Our virtual networking meeting will be learning about bank balance accounting following the profit first method. So if you know any UK or EU ladies who would benefit from that group, I would love you to share. I'll pop the Facebook event link in the chat.
Thanks, Rach.
Oh, actually, can I also add, don't forget, if you are a speaker, to add your speaker link to the Virtual Networkers directory.
Yes, please. There's a video for it in the student lounge if you need it, or just send me a message and I'll put you in the right direction. We're going to go to Suzanne B, then Suzanne M.
Hey again, everyone. This week, I just want to invite you to consider joining my email list, and I'll give you a quick flavor of why you might want to do that. If you would like weekly inspiration to reconnect to your inner voice of wisdom and the divine wisdom of the universe around you, then you may enjoy my emails. I am going to give you a link to my blog where I post all my emails so you can take a peek. And if you like what you see, then just drop me an email and I will add you to my list. Have a great weekend.
Awesome. Suzanne, then Margaret.
So ladies, I have a small group membership that is called the Client Conversion Club. And I've been running it for about 6 months, which means I have 6 great modules of content where I'm teaching you to do the things that you say you should get to, but you don't really have the direction on in your business. And if you would like to join, it is $34 a month or $79 a quarter through Sunday, but then the price is going up. So if you'd like to check it out or learn more about it, please check it out at theclientconversionclub.com, or you can email me and ask me any questions. I'll put it in the chat. Thanks.
Yay for raising prices. Margaret, then Gabriella.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to be here this morning, and just no announcement in particular. Thank you again, Sherry, for your awesome presentation, and wishing everybody a good weekend and a great start to May.
Yes. Gabriella, finish us off. Oh, Gabriella, you're still muted.
So I'm holding a virtual detox spa for Spring Radiance on Saturday, 8th of May from 2 to 4 p.m. in the UK. So if you'd like to rest deeply, to pamper yourself in a group of loving, supportive women in my virtual Gong Sanctuary, please join us. I've put the link in the chat, and connect with me on LinkedIn as well for future events, and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, Gabriella. We're glad that you could come visit us today playing the Tuesday chapter. All right, ladies, that's it. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. I'll see you next week. Mwah.